What's up, everybody? Today we're looking at a new tire from Louise, the Gravelstage. Seems to be a brand new release, at least here in the United States. They've released 3 or 4 new tires over the last month or two, Gravelstage being one of them. Very much a chunky rock lug tire. Inside the Gravelstage, we're running Three Brothers 3D inserts today. And let's go for that low line. Wow, there's good grip so far. Usually with a big chunky lug like this, we see a decent amount of side slip. None really to be seen here. Let's see if it'll turn in and pivot. Ooh, oh, that was a hard hit. That's a rod end buster right there. I think we're good. I could like feel the impact in the ground that I'm standing on as that hit the ground. That rollout was me. I waited a little too long for the turn up and then went a little too heavy with the steering input and the throttle. So we'll give that another go on that low line. As I talked about in the video I recorded before this one. Oh, fuck me. Don't sting me, bitch. This is a yellow jacket. As I discussed in the video before I recorded this one, I was talking about being used to a rig and being familiar with a rig, and sometimes hours means more than upgrades. And I was talking about how when I moved from a Fusion 1200 SE, a Fusion SE 1200 to a Fusion Pro, how big of an adjustment it's been. And I'm still kind of adjusting, getting used to that. You know, I enjoy the extra wheel speed of the Fusion Pro sometimes, but sometimes I kind of miss that 1200 kV SE. What I really need to do is spend some time dialing in the trigger on this transmitter. I can kind of control my throttle. What do you call it? Like, I forget what they call it. But you can dial in your throttle response to where if you barely squeeze the trigger, ooh, there's some side slip. That's what I'm kind of used to seeing from a big chunky lug. I can make a huge dead zone in this to where basically it won't go high throttle unless you peg the throttle and kind of just build you a big dead zone in there. And I might need to do that. Quit coming back over here. That's a yellow jacket, man. I don't want to get stung by that. That hurts. Fuck off. Whatever. See? Ooh. Okay. Don't swing at yellow jackets with a... Alright, I might have messed this up screwing with that bug. Just let it sting me and get it over with. Yeah, I'm gonna reset. That was bad throttle. Okay. I think he's gone. Now I'm paranoid. A little too low. I'm a little too low on that line. Passenger side suspension is unloading. I need to turn up now to try to settle the passenger side and hope I don't get any more side slide out of the Gravelstage. Yeah, there's the side slip. We're most likely going to have another rollout here. If I can settle that front end, we'll be okay. Okay, kind of settling. I need to get over this crack that I'm coming up on right now. Get over that. Turn up. And I need the rear to start. There we go. There we go. Slow, slow, slow pivot. Ooh, I'm getting too low. We got to really turn up now. And I need some pivot. Pivot before the crack. Oh, it's going to pick up that. Settle. Good job. All right. We should be in the clear now. Nope. Settle. Ooh, That's what I'm talking about right there. That's me. That's not the fault of the Fusion Pro. But I'm still used to the Fusion SE. Despite I've had this Fusion Pro in here for a while now. I've got a lot of hours on it. But I mean, I've got 100 or more hours on that Fusion SE, and I've got a dozen or so on the Fusion Pro, and I'm still used to how the Fusion SE would respond to twitchy throttle. I have a twitchy throttle finger. No matter how long I do RC for, whether it's crawling or drifting or touring cars or bashing or whatever, I have a twitchy throttle finger. I don't know what it is. I probably honestly need more potassium. As big of as a cope that sounds like, it's probably the truth. Because sometimes I'll just be sitting there and my hand will tremble. Maybe I have Parkinson's, who knows. Okay, side hill performance. Pretty good. A little bit of side slide that I expected from a big chunky lug like this. Not awful. And not present all the time, which could be a good or a bad thing. Sometimes that can lead to inconsistency. I think more than likely I just took a very good line the first time and screwed it up at the end. Yeah, good side hilling from the Gravelstage. Louise tires are something that I like. They used to make, Louise is the ones that made Duratrax, or that's what they sold them under when it was, when Proline, no. Proline owned Duratrax? Yes. Proline owned Duratrax. Duratrax was like their kind of less expensive brand, and they were made by Louise. And then stupid-ass Horizon acquired Proline and did away with Duratrax, and now Louise just sells the Duratrax tires under Louise with different names. The Deep Woods is now like a Champ. The Showdown is now a Rowdy. The Gravelstage didn't exist before that all happened, so the Gravelstage is just a Gravelstage. And weirdly, the Duratrax Fossil is still a Fossil. You can still buy them, and I've never seen a Louise version of the Fossil, so I don't know if they might not be making that one anymore. That might be a discontinued tire, and when the Duratrax Fossils are all sold out, that'll be the end of it. Which, as far as Duratrax goes, the Fossil was my favorite Duratrax tire. And so far, also, if you put Louise into that, the Fossil's still my favorite. Although, haven't driven the Gravelstage before, and there's an Enduro and another something or another that I need to drive. So we'll see how these new tires from Louise do. Gravelstage coming on to our second obstacle now, which is very slippery these days. Despite being sandstone, it is deep in its erosion cycle to where that surface has no traction. That is likely due to the fact that it spent about a month solid just underwater recently. Come on. I can't really, there's not enough room to write it when it gets into that situation. And I don't know if I can, yeah, there we go. This obstacle has gotten significantly harder since that happened. It's always been kind of challenging, but it's so slick now. Since it's gotten to where it's at right now, I haven't had a tire do this successfully the way it's supposed to. Right now, I'm hung on the rear bumper. But this has turned into an extremely challenging obstacle. I can't even get enough traction to get it off that bumper hang, and that bumper hang up's not that bad. But there is no traction to be had. And this is how natural environments change, and it can be frustrating if you're not prepared for it. But it's one of the things I actually like about crawling in a natural environment is, you know, this is, I keep calling this my crawling course. It's not mine, first of all. It's Mother Nature's. Well, technically, it's the state's. And I didn't build it. It's just obstacles that I found. But yeah, it keeps you guessing. Gravelstage are not going to make it up here. So let's see. Let's take a cheater line, like we've had to do. I don't even know if I'll get the cheater line now with the repositioning that needs to happen. Do we have enough traction for that? No. A lot of lug noise actually for a tire that this compound feels really nice and sticky. I'm not so convinced that a 3D insert is really the best match for this tire. We'll see how it does on the rest of the obstacles today. This could be a tire that makes a reappearance with a different insert. Because sometimes a tire does well enough to where I think some of its problems can be solved with a different insert. And sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm not. This week I will be testing the 4th time the Boom Racing Aggressor. It will be the 4th insert that I've tried in that tire to make it better. It will be the last time I test it. I haven't really made it any better, spoiler alert, so far. So we'll see how the inserts that I have in them now go. But my point is, sometimes a tire might not do too well on some things, but I see enough in it to where I think that's probably an insert mismatch, and I'll run it again. But I'm always sure to kind of talk about that if that's the case. And I don't know yet whether we have an insert mismatch here. I don't think we do necessarily, because like I said, that obstacle has gotten far more difficult for everybody. But I'm not sold anymore on 3D inserts. I have a ton of them because the first time I drove one, I thought it was really good, and I made a poor choice to order a whole bunch of them, and now I just have probably a dozen pairs of 3D inserts, and I hate to, they're like $40 for a dozen sets I have, and they're like $40 a pair, $30 a pair. So it's just slow to replace them with foams, and I don't hate them. They're not. It's not like they're bad. I don't like them as much as I like a dual stage foam. Really good push up there, where we hook that rear lug on the edge of, where's the rock? This rock, and push us up. But I kind of catch flack for that, especially in my local community. Well, there's a guy in my local community who's a team driver for Three Brothers, and so he's always telling me how wrong I am and everything, and how our inserts win competitions. And look, I'm not talking bad about Three Brothers right now. I like Three Brothers. I like a lot of their stuff. I think they make fine 3D inserts. But I've talked a lot about the things that I don't like about 3D inserts, which is largely that I think it creates more bounce, is probably my biggest complaint with them. But Three Brothers, they make a good 3D insert as far as a universal insert goes. But if you want 3D printed inserts in your tires, if that's the direction you want to go, and I can give you my opinion on when you should run 3D printed inserts in tires, but before we do that, if you want to run 3D printed inserts in your tires, what you really should do is get custom inserts made for your truck, because the insert should be made to fit the tire that you're putting it in, and it should be made for the weight of your truck. And Three Brothers just aren't. And it doesn't make them bad inserts. They're good universal inserts. They're making a product for everybody. And that's going to be the most popular thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do. It's the most universal thing. But if you really, really, really want to run 3D inserts in a tire, and especially if you're planning on doing competitions, and you really want to win competitions, and you think that winning a competition might come down to the insert you have in your tire, then you need to be custom printing or having inserts custom printed that fit the specific tire you're putting them in perfectly and that match the weight of the rig. The company that does that the best, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, is SL3D. He has a lot of inserts for various tires, but you can also contact him. You can give him a tire, and he'll ask you, you can ask him if he's printed an insert for a tire before that he doesn't have on his website, and give him the tire. And if he hasn't, he'll tell you how to take some measurements of the tires you want to put them in, and he will custom size you an insert. And he will also, you can tell him the weight of your rig, and he will print inserts kind of specific to that weight. He's not the only one that does this. And admittedly, I have not tried all of the different inserts out there. And especially because you can get on Facebook and some of these groups and stuff, and there's just guys that will do that. And I'm sure some of them are shit, and I'm sure some of them are good. You know, that's how Silent Assassin ESCs started out. There's just some dude that was kind of making them, and they're really good ESCs. So I'm sure you can find, you know, you can let me know in the comments if you know of a dude who's printing inserts that's really good. I'm not associated with SL3D or anything, but out of ones I've tried, he's easy to work with. They're a little bit more affordable than some of the competition, and he will print you a custom set. But in my opinion, you should go with foams. Good showing there from the Gravelstage. Really haven't had any concerns yet. They're so far they've been a good tire, but just now we're getting to the hardest part of the course. Well, except for obstacle 2 now is probably actually the most difficult obstacle, considering nothing can do it anymore. I do think that for a trail rig or a rig that you plan on running wet, 3D inserts are definitely the way to go, or silicone inserts, and you know, some sort of a non-foam insert. The waterproofing you can't beat. They are impervious to temperature changes, which technically foams aren't, but I mean, there's not very many people who drive in conditions where the temperature would affect their foams in a significant way. You'd be talking about extended exposure to very high temperatures or very low temperatures. And I mean, probably well above 100 degrees and well below freezing. I've driven foams a lot in 90, 100 degree days and below freezing temperatures, and the tires are affected long before the foams are. I'll just put it that way. So when they advertise that they're not impacted by temperature, they're not lying, but it's kind of a misleading way to advertise, if you ask me. Ooh, lots of hop from the Gravelstage here. Now, some of that is due to that 3D insert, but we've got a big old chunky lug, and that's what a lot of this is due to. See if we can slow it down and slow crawl that, use that compound. Loading up the rear tire a lot, not able to get good traction. Definitely conforming to the surface, maybe a little bit too much. Another thing which I think that 3D inserts allow is sometimes over-conforming can be a thing. Which is where with a normal foam, especially like a Crawler Innovation, you can get different sizes and they come with that outer tuning ring. Not like the Three Brothers tuning ring, which goes to the side. It's a tuning ring that goes around the circumference of the foam and gives you a little bit taller foam. But you can order different sizes of that closed cell foam, and then you can use those tuning rings, and you can shave, and you can do different things to a traditional foam that allow you to stuff a tire just right. Whereas with 3D inserts, you've got to custom order them. And these, being just standard sized inserts, I believe they're a little too small for the Gravelstage. And I believe, even though this is the standard dual stage 3D insert, I would go a little bigger and possibly a little more firm, at least in the rear, which is what I like to do with CI foams, is run a soft up front and a medium in rear. And on a heavier rig, run a medium up front and a firm in rear. Not too bad there. We weren't able to slow walk it, but we were able to do the hook the side lug with just a moderate amount of wheel speed, and really nothing not to like there. It was a pretty typical performance. Only the best can slow walk that. So unfortunately, we'll have to say Gravelstage is probably not amongst the best tires, but so far, not bad. Better than a Proline crawler, better than a Proline flat iron. Diff hang up, yeah, easy to pull off there. Better than a Pitbull Rock Beast. Not better than a Rock Beast XOR, however. I'm trying to think of tires that have kind of a similar, chunky rock lug and compare it to those. I'm starting to not pause quite as much as I walk between obstacles, so you'll see me fall more. You'll see a little bit more of the course in between obstacles. I won't do that on every video, but I don't have rhyme or reason why I do things sometimes. Easy pull up onto there. Very little wheel speed required so far. Yeah, that's really good. See if we can get the wheel speed up for the dismount. Yep. Gravelstage did a really good job on the steep hill climb. They did a pretty good job on the side lug obstacle. Like I said, they've done a good job except for obstacle 2, except for Slick Rock, which, once again, admittedly has become, well, difficult for everything. Since it's become as slick as it is, which is today, this is the first time I've been out here since it's been that slick. This is the third set of tires I've run today. Nothing has been able to get up there properly. Now, that's not saying a whole lot. The Gravelstage is probably the first tire that I have run today that I would say I have expectations of. And when I say I have expectations of it, I simply kind of mean tire from a company who has made tires that I know are good. But that doesn't mean that every tire a company makes is good. Louise being one of those companies. But the Gravelstage so far, they've been a pretty good tire. All right, how do they do in the loose dirt? Tire we ran right before this, the Amazon or whatever brand Sawtooth, did horrible. Yeah, the Gravelstage doing well on the gravel hill climb. Minimal wheel speed, minimal struggles. Good showing. All right, so how about the Gravelstage? Not a bad tire. I like the way it looks. It's not overly expensive. I think these were they were $26 or $27 a pair. So not cheap, but not Proline expensive at least. Of course, then you got inserts on top of that, but that's pretty much with everybody in my opinion. Really, the only thing we struggled with today was that slick hill second obstacle. They did well in the side hill. They did well on the other tricky obstacles. The compound that Louise uses is a good mixture of a sticky compound that also kind of lasts. So they make good trail tires. As you can see, the edge of the lugs on here are not worn yet from that one run, which sometimes with a really grippy tires they are, and that's kind of can be the downside to a really grippy tire. I do believe that I'm going to run these again with a CI foam in them because I want to see if they get any better. I kind of think that the side lug obstacle, I think we might be able to slow walk that with a better foam, especially in the rear. I think we were dealing with a little bit of over-conformity. In other words, I think the insert is too soft for the tire. So we probably will see these again, and these might find themselves a permanent place in the fleet. We'll see how they do. But yeah, so far I could recommend the Gravelstage. Good tire, good looking tire. Louise is a good company. I can't really find anything bad to say about it. Till next time, everybody, have a good one.